Sup kids, David here with Salt Lake State, man. We got another vid going on. This is gonna be a vid about the poetic imagery of downwards causation that is couched, if you will, in the book of Job, chapter 37. No doubt this vid is gonna wax indeed a little metaphysical. So, let's do this. All right, let's begin with talking about, what is downwards causation? Downwards causation is something that we experience every day. Imagine, if you will, your house, your home, your apartment, wherever you live, is in disarray. It's in disorder. There's stuff everywhere. Right? So you clean your home. You bring order to your home. And I tell you what, it didn't clean itself, did it? Right? So this is an example of downwards causation. For the order, for the arrangement, for the fashioning of order in your home, it begins here in your mind. And it is then imposed upon the disorder. You bring order to the mess. And this example is all around us every day. A car did not craft itself out of its source materials. The source materials did not by random forces gravitate into the arrangement of a functional vehicle. A computer did not gravitate to a higher plane of order from its original source materials by the random occurrence of events. The order, the structure, the orientation of electronics requires the thought of intelligence to superimpose upon the materials the needed arrangements to achieve the purposeful function of the computer, of the electronics, of the software. And this is what downwards causation is. And as I said, you see it in everything that makes up the stuff, the things of our lives. We are surrounded by it. It is the effect of us. It is us crafting, shaping, molding, utilizing the material world. Rendering the material world a functional utility for our purposes. In the book of Job, chapter 37, man, there is this piece of scripture. It's just beautiful. We're going to start in verse 6. Let's start in verse 5. In verse 5 in the book of Job, chapter 37, it reads, God thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things does he which we cannot comprehend. That's in verse 5. Notice that God's power, his voice is thundering. There's power in his voice. And of course, the things that we speak originate from our intention, our thought, our volitional discretion, wherewith we use symbolic sounds to convey our concepts, our ideas, our abstractions. So the voice, even in of itself, is a kind of causation, starting in the mind, making utility of the sounds that can be made with the mouth and the tongue. And it says that God's voice is powerful. His effect, the causation of his effect and utilization of the mechanisms at hand It thunders marvelously. Great things, and here again is the volitional action, the fashioning of purpose. Great things does he. Great things he is doing, which we cannot comprehend. It is beyond us. The things that God has crafted, the things that God has oriented with purpose, is beyond us. And yet it makes up the ground of our lives. It is the ground. It grounds us in provision and enables us to flourish. In verse 6, For he saith to the snow, Be thou on the earth, likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. That's awesome. Here again is this image, and here is the poetry of it. He sealeth up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. And herein is the poetry of it, that God causes it to snow. The imagery being that the snow, that it descends from above, that the rain descends from above. It says even the great rain of his strength descends from above. His purpose is above and is, if you will, executed purposefully as a downwards cause, orienting, arranging, bringing craft, order, distinction, and arrangement, purpose to that source material that is below. It says, He sealeth up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. And what does that mean, that He seals up our hand? Does it not, if you will, mean that when your hand is open, it is open to receive, but when your hand is closed, you have received, you have grasped, you have laid hold of the thing that you may take hold of to yourself and use for your purpose. For God seals up our hand with the provision, maybe even with the material, the mortar, that we may assert our own causation, our own downwards causation, that we would not only know our work, but that we would know God's work in bringing such provision, such overflowing provision. We're going to close here with in Psalm 40. Book of Psalms, chapter 40. And this psalm is reflective of one who has known the work of God, who has known the provision, the causation, the downwards causation of God. For in this psalm is articulated an expectation that God will indeed act on our behalf, intervene, if you will, defend, if you will, His cause in our lives. Come to our cause, that He's got our backs, if you will. In Psalm 40, starting in verse 1, I waited patiently for the Lord, and He inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up out of a horrible pit, and out of the miry clay. He set my foot upon a rock and established my goings. He hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise to our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. This therein is God's purpose, His love. It is not just to provide for us the material benefit and well-being of the things that our lives might be involved in, but it is to give us purpose, that we also might be built up, that our feet may be set upon a rock and not in the sinking sand of disorder and chaos, but upon the rock of stability, that our purposes be established, and that we will give thanks, and that our emotion will be founded in God who saves. Many shall see it and fear. Many shall see it and fear. For the works of God are beyond comprehension. They are epic in scope, heroic in measure, bounding with purpose, excellence, honor, and love. Yo, man, that's the vid. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care. God bless you next time.